Welcome to the first module. Here we're going to try to unlearn the human design interpretation that has been pushed onto us. What I want to achieve with this course is you guys stepping into a living architecture, a way of hearing your own body intelligence and really just peeling away all the mental layers that have told you who you are. That includes everything you've been told, even about and by the human design system. So, as you'll probably expect, this is not a course about types. This is not how to live your design. This is not a course about strategies and authorities. This is really about you realizing or remembering what is already inside your form. We're not here to follow human design. We're not here to follow a system. A strategy does not bring us to awareness. There is no step-by-step process to awareness. It's the deconditioning. And unfortunately, we also have to decondition from human design, from the way this system has been taught to us. There is some things you need to know that most courses will not tell you, and that is that human design, as it was given in 1987, was not a system. It was not organized. It was not hierarchical. It wasn't a school or a strategy. It was a revelation, as simple as that. A revelation is a mixture or an infusion of mechanical, mystical, cosmic truths, let's call them that way, that were given or imprinted into the body, into the cellular intelligence of one man, of Ra. From that revelation, we have received this knowledge. But what was given to Ra was raw mechanics, as in binary codes, planetary imprints, frequencies, the knowledge about the beginning of the universe, life as we know it. The body graph was given as a map of how the form meets awareness. Over time, Ra began to shape that revelation into something teachable, and he built a system, which was something that is to be expected. It's natural, of course. He had to build something around this knowledge that he's received. But we have to still remember that this is his interpretation. He built a system. He created a language around it. He created these metaphors. 10 years after the revelation, he laid out a type, strategy, authority. And these concepts became the path of entry into this knowledge, the central thing about human design. The only things that were not given by the revelation became what this knowledge is about. The system is not the design. These teachings were not in the transmission. What Ra created was one version of it, and it can be the best version in the world. And we can respect him as the one receiving this knowledge, and therefore give him the authority to shape it for us. But if we have the exact same perspective, the exact same assumed experience as Ra, as what Ra has given us, we're very, very far from ourselves. Unless we have the identical design to Ra, if we are the exact same people. Otherwise, we're just allowing somebody who has never met us, most of us, to define who we are. We're going to convince ourselves that this man knew us better than we are ever able to know ourselves. So I want you to ask yourself, what parts of your design have you accepted to be truth just because you were told so? What parts of this system are you following instead of feeling into? This course is an invitation to begin again. There is this quote that I always like to repeat, and that is, aura types are an illusion. This is not my quote. This is a quote from Zeno Dickinson. And she is She was one of the first students of Ra, who noticed fairly quickly that the human design that she was taught took a very different turn. That happened when Ra started introducing strategies and authorities. Zeno and Chaitanya were with Ra from the beginning, but don't worry, this is not a Zen human design course. I'm not going to teach other people's perspective. I respect everybody's perspective, but I also expect that in that way, mine would be respected. I'm not pushing this to anybody. You're choosing to listen to this course, and still you can disagree with it. And I hope you do, because my intention is never to condition people into thinking the same way as me, but to inspire them to look at their charts, to look at this knowledge through their own eyes, and hopefully get to their own perspectives. That is the whole goal of this science of differentiation. The first time I ever heard this quote, aura types are an illusion, I really honestly felt a bit heartbroken. I felt there's things that make sense with what these people are talking about. But how could I ever remove such a central piece of human design from my readings, from my understanding of it? And I could not force it to happen. I refused that quote to be truth until it clicked for me. And it took time. When I realized that when I start looking at planets, there is nuance. And I cannot call somebody an emotional being and that being the end of it. Define them in one narrow, simplified way as if they're these simple organisms. We are complex. We are way more complex than, oh, you are an 1858, you're a second line, you are emotionally defined, you have an undefined ego. Those are all generalizations. So I want us to go deeper. You've probably been told you're a generator, wait to respond. You're a projector, wait for the invitation. You're a manifester, go and inform and initiate. You're a reflector, wait for a lunar cycle. That sounds beautiful. It's very seductive. It's very comforting. But it's not necessarily the truth. They're generalizations based on a quantum, where the entire beginning of human design was based on Ra preaching how the quantum is an illusion, how our whole existence stems from separation. The universe was unified. That was the beginning, until the Big Bang happened, until the separation happened. Something needed to separate, a tension needed to form in order for life to form. We are here to deal with our bodies and to deal with these minds. We're not the body, we're not the mind. We are the spark, the consciousness that is here able, equipped to deal with these two successfully. But we are so lost in the mundane world that we completely forget about this separatism and we become identified with both. We identify with everything, with what we see, with what our mind is, with what our body experiences, with our thoughts, our feelings, all of it. These keywords are not consistent with the actual mechanical diversity of who you are. Why were these aura types created? Yes, we can say it's for the purpose of money making. They're great strategies. They're amazing concepts, great ideas. Without them, human design would be way too complex to teach. Human design was boring in the beginning. I've just recently watched a video of these sannyasins, so-called first students of Ra, some of them who still agree with Ra's methods. They were explaining how they didn't understand a word that Ra was teaching at the time. Today we consider them the most experienced, the most knowledgeable, the most aware people, but they themselves admitted publicly that they did not understand a thing they were listening. And the courses that they did with Ra were 1 day long, 2 days long max, advanced courses. So we are trusting these people to tell us who we are when they are admitting that they didn't even know what he was talking about. The danger is that aura types collapse what was never meant to be merged. They merge the mind and the body, where personality crystal and a design crystal are two entirely different things. They are held together through the monopole, but they never become one. Because due to this friction, life can happen. There is no decision making in awareness, in alignment. It all just happens. Ra describes human design as a decision making system, while at the end he says, well, there's no choice anyways. So what do we need this decision making strategy for? When I present my theories, people say, oh yeah, Ra predicted that there will be people who will be changing things. Of course, his students predicted that straight away as well, as soon as he started introducing aura types. When the mess of a manifesting generator happened, when we had a design motor to the throat being a design to do, suddenly that will depend if the motor is sacral. Suddenly you have a generator's aura, but you can manifest, but you can't. It depends on who you ask. Manifesting generators have it the worst. So, who are you when you stop describing yourself through these conditioned terms, through these homogenizing terms? I'm a generator, I'm a 3-5. I'm an emotional authority. I'm a splenic authority. What does that say about you? It simplifies you, and you're not simple. Aura types really are a casta system. We have 4 types. There is a hierarchy. When we place people into these type boxes, we really erase the true gift of human design, the differentiation. This knowledge was not designed to box you in. It was given in order to reveal to us what is really only ours. You are not even in the chart. Your chart is a design of your vehicle, design of your mind. You are the spark, that passenger, the trinary consciousness, something that is timeless, something that is beyond any category. Aura is something that is so complex in every other system except for human design. In human design, there's 4 auras, full stop. Even Ra himself initially described aura as a prana, as something that continuously expands and contracts. It moves. It's like a breath. It's not static, it's dynamic. But the way he interprets it then, it becomes very, very static. It turns into one narrow thing. Manifestors, they are closed and repelling. That's it. Really? Is that all there is to them? I don't think so. So many things are going to affect the way your aura is experienced. Health being a big one. Aura is not something we are in touch with. We cannot touch our own aura. We cannot feel our own aura at all. It's there for the other. That's why the famous quote from Ra, motivation is for the other. Color is the exit frequency that touches the other. It doesn't touch us. We don't touch it. It's outside of us. It's what exits us. So when you are sick, you will be experienced way, way differently than when you are healthy. So for the purpose of this course, I want you to forget about your type. Forget about your authority. You write down what you've been told. I am a generator, I'm a projector, and then cross it out. Let it go. If you want to come back to it later, great. If you feel like that works for you, I'm not here to convince you. My job is not to convert anyone. You're choosing to get this course from me, to be taught by me, and that is what I'm offering you here. I'm teaching you my perspective. But as I said, my hope is that you just get inspired to see for yourself, and that seeing does not have to match mine. If it matches mine, you're not seeing for yourself. You're seeing through my eyes. So, for now, forget your authority. Write it down and strike it through. It doesn't have to be wrong for you. Just see it as not all of it. It's time to feel into it and not believe what you're told. Now, I hope that you all have access to your charts, that you can print your charts off, hold them, sit with them, and ask yourselves a few questions. What do you feel drawn to in your chart? What seems like it's dominant? What seems like it's consistent? Look at the planets. Look at how much of a chart planets make, the majority, and we never even look at them. Look at whatever you believe your authority is, whatever you've been told. What planets is it made out of? Is it all black? Is it in the mind? Does the body have access to that definition or not? Is it in the body? Does the mind have access to that? Is mind aware of this definition or not at all? Is it half-half? Is it not consistent on one or the other side? What planets are defining this channel? Is it the nodes? Is it about the external? Is it something that is outside of you and not you at all, not a part of what your body is and what your mind is? Think about the response of a generator. Waiting to respond. What does that mean? As humans, we are always in response. Naturally, we respond continuously. Response is a sign of life. The plant responds to water or to the lack of it, to the sunlight or to the lack of it. Are you the same as that plant, or are you a bit more complex? We naturally respond to things continuously. We respond to temperatures, we respond to hunger, we respond to many, many things. We respond to basic needs, we respond to some more complex things. It's in us. There is no life without sacral. If you have an undefined sacral, it doesn't mean you're dead. You're an illusion. You exist. You're alive. You have the ability to respond, always. Response disappears in death. Your undefined centers are not where you're wrong, are not where you're this mean being amplifying and being not self. It's where you're receptive. That's where your superpowers really lay. It's your wisdom potentials. It's just where you receive, where you don't have to do a thing. So if you have an undefined throat, no, that doesn't mean that you should never speak, that you should be dependent on others inviting you to speak. That's giving your authority to the other. If you feel like speaking, you speak. But this is the place where you have the ability to learn something very, very important about the themes of manifestation and action. When we talk about the throat, we talk about the actual, physical side of it. But when we talk about the root, we never talk about the genitalia. When we talk about the head center, we don't really talk about head. When we talk about the G center, we don't even know what it is. Even Ra said he can barely tell the difference between the G and the ego. That it's very, very difficult to tell the difference. But when it comes to the throat, we take that literally, because this is reserved for the boss type, the manifester. You're not a system. You're not a design. You are a living being who is here to deal with this body and who is here to deal with this mind in awareness. So I invite you to get lost in it, to question everything, to listen again, to start over with me. And keep an open mind. You never know what this can result in. You're not here to be correct. You're here to be yourself. So let's look at the crystals a little bit. We have the design crystal and the personality crystal. These are the two separate intelligences that are held together by the magnetic monopole. And they never ever agree. Design crystal is mechanical. It doesn't need to know, it just needs to move. It needs to accept its line of geometry and move with it, and let itself be moved by it. The other is your personality crystal, your mind. It's interpretative, it's reflective, conceptual, and it's always trying to understand. It can imagine, it can give stories, it can be aware. These two, they never speak the same language. They were not designed to speak the same language. They were never supposed to merge. Yet, what we try to do that every day, to become this one singular identity, to believe that we are our thoughts, we are our feelings, we are our behaviors. But this is all really an illusion. You're not one, you are two. Same as everything else in the universe. Everything is a binary. Personality rides in the body, but it doesn't drive. It has no power to move the vehicle. That's the job of design. That's the job of the nodes. Nodes are movement. They are here to move the vehicle. But we have built our entire world around this crystal, the personality crystal, our beliefs, our education systems, the spiritual growth coaching. Everything is based on the assumption that the mind is in the seat of the self. But the mind was never designed to lead. It was designed to watch. That's what the awareness is. It's observing. So when the mind tries to steer, the body will suffer. The body, on the other hand, is purely functional, mechanical. It's aligned with the environment, with the nodes. It doesn't care about a story, about the meaning. It's grounded in that geometry. The monopole, the one that holds them both together, that one that is really a major ingredient in one becoming a living, breathing human, is the reason that we feel like we are one with these two intelligences. Where, right, we are the three-part being. There is a personality crystal, there is a design crystal, and there is this gravitational binding agent, the magnetic monopole. So once the monopole links the design and personality, something else begins, and that's your geometry. Each one of us has a unique line of geometry, and this is where there's no choice. We have no choice. We cannot choose our line of geometry. We can choose to surrender to it or not, but we cannot choose what that is. So when you're looking at your chart, the crystals are found in your suns and earths, and this is where you have the base, the tone, and the color, which are the properties of each one of the crystals, right? And the line of geometry is your design nodes. This is the theme you need to surrender to. The design nodes, the nodal variables on both sides are what we call independent variables. And the sun and earth variables are called dependent, which means that the correct alignment of our crystals, the awareness of how the crystals function, how they operate, is completely dependent on the correctness of the nodes. That is our ability, our surrender to our own line of geometry, which is going to be the most uncomfortable thing for us to surrender to. This geometry is not flexible. It's fixed at the moment of birth. And it's like this guide behind every connection, every turn in life, every experience. It's the thing that we never want to face and that we always want to avoid. It triggers our traumas, our insecurities, and that is why it's important to deal with that first, to allow this to resurface, to admit it, to recognize it. And if your nodal variables, when I'm saying this, I'm talking about the gates and lines, I'm not talking about the colors. Nodes are not crystals. They cannot have the properties of the crystals. When you look at your gates and lines of your design nodes, this is the theme that you need to surrender to. And it's a cycle, so it will always, you can recognize it, that because it will always go from the south node. Initially, we'll start with the south node theme. And if you surrender to that uncomfortable South Node theme, it will result in the North Node theme. And it's going to be something that can be quite easy to recognize. The mechanics don't point towards unity or sameness. They point towards differentiation. Every person is differentiated by their own specific configuration. And even though we all contain the same core elements, the two crystals and the monopole, how these elements are arranged creates this diversity. And that's a whole point. Life is not one consciousness living in many bodies. It's many unique consciousnesses experiencing form in different ways. Differentiation means that no one else can have your exact geometry, your exact path, and your exact experience. We're built to express difference, not sameness. And this is where many teachings of human design have gone off track. This attempt to group people into types, to generalize their behavior, to give this one universal advice. All of this goes against the core logic of this knowledge. And it's completely based on the left understanding, which is not wrong understanding. It's just left understanding. It's based on pattern. Here is patterns. No, but what is with precision? Precision is not the same as the pattern. Pattern replaces uniqueness with categories. Differentiation is not just about being different. It is about being exact, being yourself. And all of this can be studied and it can be mapped out, but it should never be simplified. Ra was a man with his own filters, his own traumas, his own contradictions. The irony is that he repeatedly said, "Don't believe me, test it, try it for yourself, experiment with it." Yet the followers completely turned human design into a dogma, where even just questioning him is a heresy, let alone experimenting and testing it and not getting the expected result. And I'm not against Ra. I don't go against him, but I could never accept to have the exact same experience and a perspective as him. We were so different from each other. I don't know if we had 3 gates in common, plus none of the variables, none of the tones and colors in common, nothing. So for me, that's just a logical conclusion that I'm not going to have the same view as him. Human design, as it was given, is a map. It's not a destination. It was never meant to stay frozen in time. It was meant to evolve, to mutate, especially because it was so scattered. It was so contradictory. It was all over the place. If you're a projector, strategy and authority is not enough. You need motivation. Then in another sentence, if you're a projector, the most important thing is BHS. You know, like it's just the most important thing for everybody is everything, basically. And that is what it all came down to. And that is why how it ended up so scattered. I don't claim to have one right way, but I do have the right to explore, to reinterpret, and to share what feels true for me. So yeah, for this part 1, what I want to make clear is the duality of a system and how that is really not a problem. It's just a structure. There is no unity to be found, no merging, no quantums, no final harmony. The system, the being is built to remain split mechanically. We're not here to integrate design and personality. We're here to witness the experience of living as both without needing them to agree, without trying to fix that space between them. This division, this duality is what makes life happen. It's also what makes life difficult, but not broken. It doesn't need to be fixed. It just is that way. And all we can do about it is accept it and surrender to it. There's nothing simple about being a human. And every chart is a unique expression of these binaries that are being shaped by the frequencies, by the planets, and we don't even notice them. So I want you to remember your own complexity, to respect it, and to stop trying to make yourself fit into a box. Because this is not a system of answers, it's a system of structure. And the structure here begins with 2 parts, not with 1. The design and personality crystals, they are not created for a person. The person is what is built around them. Each crystal, right, has a specific entry frequency, base, inner frequency, or filtering, the tone, and the exit frequency, what comes out, the color. Color transmits the tone. This is Ra's words, not mine. Now, the base is the most fundamental frequency. It's like a raw code. It doesn't change. It doesn't evolve. We cannot affect it in any way. Base will determine how tone will filter and what will eventually come out of the color, how it will get expressed. But it's not something we can connect to, we can interact with, we can adjust, we can become. It's just what we already are. It's the foundation frequency, and it holds your structure stable, your crystal stable. Now the tone is the inner frequency of the crystal. So tone is where that filtering happens. It's what gives your design this kind of texture, you know. This is our correct responding mechanism. Tone is really like the cleanest mechanics. It's how frequency moves through you. It's how it gets shaped within you. Tone filters the world. It filters the neutrino, the information, the planets, the planetary programming. That's how, like, when we look at the Mercury, we're not here to speak that Mercury. We are not Mercury. We are here to filter the frequency of that Mercury through our own being, through our own crystal, and speak that gate filtered through that tone, and it gets experienced through that color. So it's very, very complex, but it's not like we can do anything about it anyways. It's all just dependent on the correct surrender to the line of geometry. And then the color is an exit frequency. And this is the way Ra explains it mechanically. But when he goes into interpretations, he turns it suddenly about an input. This is how you take food in. This is how you digest things, put things in, eat, you know all the ways of PHS. We cannot do this backwards. We cannot align exit frequency through food, through light, through behavior. It's an output. The way your design radiates, the frequency that transmits this filtered information. Color is what leaves the crystal, not what enters the crystal. They're not preferences. They're not your likes and dislikes. They're not behaviors. They're not what you do for work. They're not what you feel drawn to. They're just what comes out of you. They're the ways your form interacts with the field, how your presence is felt by the other, how your inner frequency gets translated and experienced by the other. What gets distorted is this idea that we have to live by our color, that we should eat in a certain way, avoid certain lights, or manage our lifestyle to match the color. But that just flips the logic. We don't live through color. Color lives through us. So none of these layers are behavioral. We cannot act like color 4. We cannot try to be tone 2. These are not instructions. They're not roles. They are the way form deals with neutrinos. That's it. When the system was first transmitted, there was real clarity there. But later, through the interpretations and application, these frequencies were turned into roles and behaviors and guidelines and diets, schedules, and it all became totally distorted.